Hello, Guardians. Welcome to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast here on Boss Rush Games. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Derrigan. Alongside me, as always, is our lore archivist, the Josh Finney.
Corey, it has been one hell of a week.
Yes, it has.
To put it mildly, this has been just a bonkers week, not just in Destiny, but we got next-gen consoles this week, too.
Well, you got the next
one of us got next-gen consoles.
To be fair, mine's coming on Saturday. It's just, I'm feeling a little bit of FOMO, Josh. I'm feeling it. I hate that word.
I was feeling it Tuesday morning. My best friend got his picked up at Best Buy at 6 a.m. and brought it over to use my fancy internet since his is so bad. And it was a little hard watching him pack it up, put it back in the box, and walk out the apartment. I was very sad. I was waiting here. It was like the Scott Pilgrim gif where he's just sitting there by the door immediately after placing the order. That's how I felt most of the day, especially sitting in the queue trying to get through to Beyond Light.
Yeah, it's funny because I actually didn't have any issues getting into the game, but I also got on at like 8 o'clock at night and not when it launched.
Yeah, me, Nerd Generalist, and Colonel Panic were all trying to get in at the same time. I finally got through. They got through probably about 15 minutes after me, I would say. And I think we were all pretty okay. Everybody got booted once. We all got booted together at one point. But other than that, it really wasn't too bad. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I personally think this might have been the smoothest Bungie launch for a Destiny expansion that I can remember. And I think it's because we spent the night before constantly getting kicked out of the end of the season event.
Yeah.
So, which is really cool, by the way. I actually really like that.
Yeah, I was expecting like a little bit more flash to it, but this like the lore behind it, the story behind like leading into Beyond Light. Let's talk about that first because we haven't recorded since that event happened, and that kind of led into Tuesday.
We didn't even know that we had suspected there was an event coming, but we didn't know how it was going to happen. Like a lot of us assumed it would be a weekend thing, like the Rasputin activation. I was shocked that we actually went down to the city. And it was this brand new area. I mean, I remember running around it. Matt and I were talking, and we're like, "Oh my God, is this going to be the new social space? Are we finally going to abandon Tower 2.0 that not a single soul who plays this game actually likes? Are we finally going to leave it behind?" No, we are not, unfortunately. That was a really cool area, though, to go run and jump around with all your friends. You're seeing this energy pulse out of the Traveler, so you've got super speed and super jump. And I think as the clock was ticking down, we're all like, is anything actually going to happen? Like, this is cool. This is a cool area. And, like, Ghost had some dialogue for us and whatnot. We had gotten to go by a ramen shop and buy a jukebox that worked. And then with about 90 seconds to go, you start hearing dialogue between Ghost and Eris. And the screen goes white. And then it shows you everybody, like, literally is going, is that it? And then you see the director and you see the Traveler heal. But as the Traveler is healing, you're seeing the darkness, just like the original Destiny 1 cutscene, the darkness coming in and kind of taking everything over. And the light of the Traveler literally pushes it away from Earth as it's trying to take over Earth.
Yeah.
That was one of the coolest damn things I think I've ever seen in the game.
I like the visual of it swallowing the planets that were leaving. Like, that was cool. It was really cool.
So they do that, and then they said there was a message. Everybody got kicked after that. A couple of us made it back to orbit, but when we got kicked, there was a message that said servers offline, and then there was a message from the darkness there. Basically, like, the light is not your salvation. Seek us out on Europa. And it's like, this is just so freaking cool.
Yeah.
That is how you take the servers offline for an extended period, is something like that. You actually tie it into the universe, and it subsequently ties into the cutscene that launches the game.
Yeah.
It was basically that is this was like the prologue to it. And Bungie's now uploaded it online, so you can watch it in all its glory without contacting Destiny servers flashing at the bottom.
I mean, that gray and red bar was just on my screen the whole time, contacting Destiny servers the whole time.
It was. I think it was cool. You got a cool little emblem if you managed to log in for those couple of hours. At any point, if you logged in, you got the emblem. And I don't know, like, I want to see more things like this. I like that we went to an unexplored part. Like, we actually went into the city. And that's something that a lot of us have been asking for since Destiny 1 is let us walk the streets of the city. The original opening mission for Destiny 2 was supposed to have us running through the streets of the city as the Cabal attacked.
Mm-hmm.
The closest we've ever gotten to doing this, we got to do it once during the year 1 solstice and also during the Homecoming mission. Not Homecoming, the final mission of the original Red War campaign had us running through the ruined city to get to the tower.
Yeah.
Which also just an incredible moment. That's probably my favorite mission of Destiny game ever. But yeah, so cool little event. I want to see more stuff like this. This was one, if you were a European player, you got kind of shafted, and I felt really bad. Because it was like midnight your time when it was happening, but somebody is always going to get shafted, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I do think going forward they should probably do these on weekends though, so that the most people possible can do it, and you're not trying to sprint home from work. I know some people ran into the issue of, well, shit, I just traded in my consoles. Like, how am I supposed to see it now? Like, I want the goodies for it. I just played all season.
Yeah. Yeah, but. Like you said, it is online now, but you can see it. It's really cool. Just go watch it, even if you didn't.
Luke Smith was. I think Luke may have undersold it a little bit. I think they wanted to try not to overhype it like they did Rasputin, which still a cool event, but because of the timing and everything, it did take quite a while in that. I think he undersold it a little bit, like not from the actual event. I think that was perfectly hyped. But the significance of it, that we went into the city and walked the streets with the citizens. We saw the darkness literally swallow the map, literally take away the planets. Like, they had an in-game message saying, calling all Guardians back to the tower. Mm-hmm. And like Ghost says that. He's like, all the Guardians are returning to the tower. They're all hailing the Vanguard summons. Even the Hunters have come back to protect the people.
Yeah.
Because he thinks it's going to be the final stand, and then the light pushes it back. Really, really cool. The Traveler looks awesome in the new Skybox.
Yeah. 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 I mean, so the thing is like it kind of lacked like the amazing cutscene type thing, but like I really like the and this led into Beyond Light as well, which I mean, I guess we can transition into that. Let's go
ahead and just start talking about Beyond Light.
They've done this with the other expansions too, where it's just kind of like the simpleness of the art that they use to transition the story forward, and it was cool because the launch trailer used the concept art, and then if you watch the launch trailer and then you moved into the opening cutscene of Beyond Light, and it was all of the concept art but like fully just rendered in animation. It was like, oh man, this is cool. This is really cool. So that opening mission of Beyond Light, where you kind of land on Europa and you're tracking Varrix's signal. Oh my gosh, dude. When I saw Varrix, I thought it was toast. I thought he was going to be toast.
I did too. I said it. I was like, oh my God, did they just throw a gigantic red herring at us? And they didn't, thankfully. I mean, we see him lose another arm. Full disclosure, if you're listening to this, we are going to spoil the ever-loving shit out of this game.
Yeah.
Like, we're absolutely going to spoil the campaign. We're going to spoil the lore that I've been able to read so far, that I've unlocked. I'm still working on some of the couple exotic quests you give, so I won't be ruining anything there, but there's some deep stuff we're going to get into and some implications for some of our fan favorite characters. So turn back now if you have not at least finished the campaign, and I would suggest having finished everything up to the point where you unlock the Empire hunts from Varix, which is basically like a PS, like almost a extension of the campaign.
It's like the extension from Forsaken almost, where like, okay,
essentially, yeah.
Like where you killed Aldrin, but then there's like that extra step you go to the Dreaming City and everything. So
it's basically that. Yeah, you have another little mini quest line that you do after that, which lets you unlock all of Varix's stuff and things like that. Anyways,
full disclosure too, I haven't finished the campaign, but we're gonna spoil it anyway because it's way too interesting to me. Then, you know. I want to know it. I want to know what happens. I'm up to the point. I just attuned the 3rd shard, and I'm on my way to the mission after you attune the shard in the pyramid out there.
Okay, so you are getting really close to the end.
Yeah, I figured I was close.
I think the character development. So we're gonna start with Varix. I think the character development of Varix here it's great. Like, this is a guy who clearly he knows he fucked up. He knows he messed up letting Aldrin out of the Prison of Elders. Ghost even says, like, he's responsible for Cade's death. Like, you killed Cade. Like, I hold that against you. And Varix doesn't deny it. He understands that he will face judgment eventually. He understands that. Like, even Zavala tells you at one point, like, we have no choice but to work with him. Even after what he did to Cade, we have to. He's the man on the inside. We have to. We know that we see the results of the cutscene where he sends the distress call to the Guardian. We see and what the Exo Stranger was doing there. She stole the shards of darkness that he stole from Aramis. She takes those, and subsequently we get the first one of those. The Stranger introduces us to Stasis, and I think you have Varix, he's cautioning us. Him and Ghost both are like, you don't need to use this. You don't have to use it. Like, Varix is like, it's going to corrupt you. It corrupts everyone. Like, it destroyed Aramis. He's like, I basically thought Aramis was the chosen one. And it poisoned her mind. Ghost literally spends the entire, 5-6 hours of the campaign begging you not to use stasis, saying you don't need it. The light is strong enough. And then, reluctantly coming around to, okay, well, maybe once we beat Aramis, you don't need it anymore. Zavala, we find out after the campaign's done, he has forbidden Guardians from using stasis anymore, which is interesting because we get our first nod in one of the lore books that Ana Bray may be the next Guardian to wield it. And that circles back to the Stranger. The Stranger is the one who kind of goads you into, you need to use it. Drifter, of course, does, and Eris is there. Eris, has been using it as well. But the three of them kind of form a darkness vanguard of sorts.
In their little camp, little makeshift camp.
Yeah. I kind of expect there to be maybe a Civil War storyline in the Witch Queen, because, or the breaking of the Fellowship, essentially. Because it's clear, Zavala doesn't really trust the Drifter. He's kind of on Eris after everything that happened on the moon. But
we've saw that.
Clear that
we've seen that already, right? In the one mission or the one kind of season where you have to choose a side or whatever, you kind of see Zavala and the Drifter kind of not like.
Yeah, that was way back in Joker's Wild. That was even before Shadow. The Drifter is allowed to remain there largely because Shax has vouched for him, and it's so Shax and Shin Malphur can keep an eye on him in the Dredgens. But the Drifter clearly with Season of Arrivals. Joker's Wild kind of got around to making him a better character. Really, I feel like he got fleshed out over the last 6 months in Season of Arrivals.
Yeah.
But we're going to get to, while we're talking about the characterization of these guys, we're going to get to my first major gripe, which is Eris and the Drifter essentially have nothing to do on Europa. They're just kind of there, and I think it's to give us a connection to, because Eris makes sense. with the cutscene we saw during Shadowkeep, during one of the seasons of her going into the pyramid and basically getting stasis for herself, we assume. Drifter, we presume, is there because he's always telling us embrace the darkness. You know, that this is he pretty much says to us, this is no longer a battle between light and dark. It's a fight for survival. And that's been his whole mantra since day one. He's seen some serious shit. He's traumatized, whether he wants to admit it or not. We went over this in our lore corner about the Drifter. He's seen some serious things, and that's why he does Gambit. That's why he runs his games, is to train us for what's coming.
Yeah.
So he kind of has this feeling of satisfaction, like, I've been right all along, essentially. And Eris is like, we have to use our enemy's tactics against them. Our light is no longer enough. And the Stranger. So this is where we're going to go into uber big spoilers right here. When you finish the campaign, the Stranger admits something to you. She says, you know, I originally recruited you to help me destroy the Black Garden. She says, but she reveals she is not from our timeline. The Exo Stranger, let me repeat that, says she is from a different timeline. One in which the second collapse happens, all but a few Guardians fall to the power of the darkness and wielding it, including our Guardian, including the Young Wolf. And we don't know the specifics of this. I assume this will probably play out over the next couple of years. But, it's possible the Deepstone Crypt gives us another clue to how she managed to do this. But she says she came to this timeline and pretty much specifically sought us out because she still felt, despite us falling in that previous timeline, she makes it really clear. She cannot rest because she still fears that future is to come. But she feels better knowing that we did not give in and succumb to the darkness on Europa, and that we've been able to harness it without being corrupted. That maybe we can still avert the future that she saw. We know that we're going to get lore drops from her periodically throughout Beyond Light, and it is a book about the dark future. It is set in her original timeline. The first entry is her and Anna talking, and darkness has already overtaken so much, and Anna basically saying, I want to wield stasis. I need to know how to use it. And Elsie refuses. She refuses to teach Anna how to use it, but she kind of sort of gives in by the end. And I do think, to be completely clear, I think at some point the lore book will deviate from what actually happens. I do think Anna is most likely to be the next one, because they talk about Rasputin. They talk about, she's basically holding the equivalent of an SSD drive, and is like, yeah, Rasputin is on here. We need to build him a body. And that's all I've unlocked so far. It's the base storyline involving Aramis. I don't think is necessarily bad. I do think it's a little weak, but it's noticeably a step up from Shadowkeep's narrative, which was really, really bad at its core.
I think
that was really. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think so far, just based off the campaigns that we have now for Destiny 2, it's weaker than Forsaken, I would say, but I still think it has the best kind of. It's weird because it doesn't feel like I haven't finished it yet, but it doesn't feel like a full story, but it feels like the first part of an overarching story that we're probably going to get throughout the rest of the year and then the next 3 years, It's kind of like it feels like a story that's incomplete and has more to tell, and so it's hard to judge it right now. I know.
Yeah,
I know. Eventually, you're going to get on a soapbox to yell at the Destiny community, especially on Reddit. But that's what it feels like to me, and I'm like, I kind of like how simple this part of the story is, building up to something way more complex and scary, and whatever we get in the next 2.5, 3 years.
I mean, so the reason why we're sitting here talking about what the Exo Stranger is doing, that she's really from another timeline. I mean, she explicitly says that to us. That is not confined to a lore book. She flat out says that to you at the end of the campaign, showing that they are willing to sprinkle nuggets of it into actual dialogue without just hiding everything in a lore book for people to find. I think that's a really wise move, because we've seen this pattern for a long time, going all the way back to the Taken King, really. Maybe even vanilla Destiny 1, but the Books of Sorrow, for instance, are introduced way back in the Taken King. We are still seeing the effects of the Books of Sorrow play out. We haven't even met Savathun or Xivu or Wrath yet, even though they are literally here, and the seasonal content this year looks to push that conflict to the forefront.
Oh, yeah.
With us going back to the Tangled Shore, with us dealing with Xivu or Wrath, with us dealing with the Dreaming City. The Curse of the Dreaming City is presumably going to come back around at some point. That being said, I think they did a really good job with the laying the groundwork and the foundation for other things. I mean, there are a couple of missions where you have to free fallen skiffs. You have to free them. They're trying to escape Aramis, and you have to free them from her lieutenants. And Varix gets on and says they will be joining House Light, led by Mithrax. And it's yet another nugget for those of us who are like, okay, like, you may not understand that Mithrax was the fallen captain, but by now, okay, he's had basically an entire lore book given to him in Forsaken. He's been talked about so much in the lore. This is kind of introducing his name to the community at large. He's had a Halloween mask, for God's sake. Like, but I don't think a lot of people probably don't understand that that's who's leading you in 0 Hour, is Mithrax. You know, he's the one who beckons us to the tower. Like, it's very much the arbiter and the elites here. And Varix, I mean, thank God Varix is out of the campaign alive. He doesn't die.
Oh, thank God. I did think in that opening scene where, like, they froze him to the ground, she rips his arm off. I thought
I was waiting for it.
Yeah.
I was waiting for it.
Oh.
Because I mean, I think we all assumed that the stranger was going to be the vendor.
Oh yeah.
And it's both.
Yeah.
It's both of them. So thank God. I won't say that Varix is completely safe, though. I do think that once Witch Queen comes out, Varix is completely fair game.
Yeah.
Narrative wise.
Hey, as long as I get a statue of Varix first, you know.
One of the coolest missions to me takes place after the campaign. It's a quest line that Varix and Zavala together give you. You're going to continue helping to destabilize Aramis's army on Europa, and you go farther than you've ever gone north. And that's another thing we'll talk about, is just how much I hate to travel in Europa. But you go into an ancient city on Europa, but the Fallen have modified it and twisted it over the generations, and it's meant to be almost like the Fallen homeworld eventually. While you're in there, Varix, who he's been calling Aramis, he's been calling her Aramis the whole time. He slips up and calls her Aramis Kel, and then kind of goes silent for a minute and corrects himself. Varix went to Europa to follow Aramis, which should not surprise anybody. Varix set out, he thought he was the Kel of Kells. He basically recognizes Mithrax as that at this point. But he also mentions that House Dusk still exists. I don't think Varix's part in the story is going to be him camping out on Europa for the rest of his life. I do think that there is a finite end to Varix, and that in the next year or two we will see that. It's going to be either, dude, you get to join Mithrax or you get wiped out. Those are your only two choices. As far as Aramis goes, I think that she's compelling in a lot of ways. She's not the best villain they've ever done, but Destiny has always struggled with showing their villains and letting them, like, really act out on screen. Like, in that way, she's one of the most realized ones. It's not simply like Crota, who's just a raid boss and we kill him with, you know, no dialogue, no nothing. It's not like, and I mean, Oryx obviously was a lot better, but, you know, Axis, just kind of there in Wrath of the Machine. Sanctified Mind, kind of there in Garden of Salvation. Riven.
I mean, even look at Gaul. I mean, look at Gaul. Like,
yeah, Gaul was a caricature basically. Like, he was just really fucking goofy. Callus is a robot. Like, there's a lot more that you can do in this franchise, and I think the way they present Aramis and her lieutenants is a first step towards that. It's a good first step. I won't say it's great. She's not like in my top 3 or 4 villains, and her boss fight is some absolute horse shit. But it's not the worst thing I've ever played. It makes it more bearable when you get unlimited stasis powers. Every time you use stasis until the end of the campaign, you basically get unlimited stasis when it comes around.
Yeah.
And it makes you feel like a god because there's so many enemies coming at you. And you're just, if you're a hunter, you're just hurling axes, you're hurling ninja stars and ice walls. And it's just this great experience. And it's how getting powers of light should feel. Well, powers of darkness, I guess. It's how it should feel, and it's just so cool. That doesn't mean it's a walk in the park, but it's so cool. Even in the boss fights they give it to you in the Empire hunts, and man, it's just so cool.
Yeah,
I really like so much of what this expansion does. Like, to move away from the storytelling and from the lore, I love how the subclasses feel. The stasis subclasses feel phenomenal, especially in PvE.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When I was
using that Titan one, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I love like the aerial kind of slam that kind of like I think a lot of people just assumed it was going to be a reskin striker, and it's not. I use it to propel myself across the map. Like the way it allows you to literally move throughout the environment differently, whether you're like building like a stasis kind of platform or using the aerial dash, or it allows you to move throughout the environment differently, and I love that. Like when I was fighting during the Praxis fight, which was a really cool boss fight, by the way. It was extremely difficult when you're 20 light levels lower than you're supposed to be, but just moving throughout the world, and like once you get to that final stage where you get the unlimited stasis powers and you're just throwing the ice walls around him, slamming him, like it's incredible. It's such an awesome feeling to just, like you said, it feels like having superpowers. That it feels like the game should have felt. I think the last time I felt like this was when we got the solar subclass in Destiny 1. When you won, or the third subclass, I guess. Yeah. Titan was the hammer, so solar. But
I really, really, really like how you get this. It doesn't just hand it to you in the second or third mission. Yeah. You have to actually finish the campaign to get it, which I think is going to force people to go play the actual storyline. Nobody is saying you have to run and finish everything else, but you get to unlock more stuff if you finish the post-campaign storyline. And I mean, you're effectively locked out of getting the new exotic grenade launcher, which is one of the only stasis weapons in the game if you don't get the subclass.
Yeah.
While we're talking about stasis, one of the big gripes in the community right now, and I understand this gripe to an extent, is the absolute overpowerment of stasis in PvP right now.
Yeah, it is.
I understand why people are upset. Maybe it is a bigger problem on PC. I got frozen, and it really irritated me the first couple times it happened, but it's forcing me to change how I play. Mm-hmm. A lot of the people that I personally know who have been complaining about stasis in PvP they're apers. And I'm sorry you can't run around and just blow people away with shotties anymore, and you have to think about it a little bit more. I really think now Crucible is going to become a bit more of a long game, ultimately.
Which I think is what they want. I think that's what they wanted in the first place, and it just didn't work out that way. It
turned into sidearms and shotties.
Yeah. I just remember when Destiny 2 came out, and everybody was like, well, they just made Halo again. And I think that's like the idea of Halo is what they wanted, but it didn't really turn out that way in terms of like the long game and kind of like more methodical, kind of almost like a team-based type thing. And now, like with this, I think they're going about that idea in a different way with the stasis powers, extending the Crucible match, extending the game, making like you said, making people play differently. I'm one of those people who, like, I deliberately went into Crucible to try to level up a little bit because you can't just level up by playing a campaign. You got to do extra stuff. But I had to play differently. I had to play a little bit of a ranged game. I am one of those guys who likes to run up and shotgun people or Titan charge someone, or you know what I mean? Like I don't play a lot of Crucible, so that's what I do when I get the chance, and I think it's hilarious. But I did have to change how I played. I had to play a little bit of a long game. I had to play with a pulse rifle and a scout rifle, and I actually felt better about my Crucible skills after I played 5 or 6 matches last night, because I wasn't just running up to people, shotgunning them and Titan charging them and punching them. I had to change because of the stasis powers.
Yeah, I actually don't really mind them in Crucible. I do think they're a little annoying, but it's like, all right, listen, everybody's playing with the fun new toy. What did you expect them to do? Add a new element with new supers and nobody use it in PvP?
Right.
We were all saying this months ago that we felt this was going to be a nightmare for PvP, but it is what it is. Like, you learn to adapt. I'm sure, Trials is likely going to be a nightmare this weekend.
Well, then didn't they cancel Trials till the 27th?
They might have. I haven't seen.
I think there's a weird bug in something, and they canceled. Gotcha, I saw a tweet about it. I think they canceled it till the 27th of November.
Okay, that's fine. That's totally fine. I understand that then, and that was the right move. I want to be completely clear. It is the absolute right move to delay this.
There's a heavy ammo glitch that has canceled Trials of Osiris till they fix it. It looks like.
Yeah, I don't think that it's that big of a deal. Them not having Trials up for the first couple of weeks is probably the smartest thing they could have done. It would have been hopelessly irreparably broken. While we're talking about things that are broken, though, and we're talking about gripes in the community, Corey told you all earlier I was going to get up on a soapbox. I'm going to get on one for just a couple of moments to speak directly to some people in the community who are just never happy with literally anything. Every single time an expansion comes out, all the way from, not even an expansion, anything Destiny comes out, from Destiny 1 until now, there have been a not insignificant amount of voices that like to bitch and moan and cry about absolutely everything in the game. Some of the common complaints I've seen about Beyond Light include the campaign is too short. The campaign is too easy. It's too spread out. Fast travel points suck. The loot pool is disappointing. This is a looter shooter first, not an MMO, not an RPG. Stasis is too overpowered. PvP is a joke. Nobody should touch PvP. Destiny really went ahead and released a full expansion with no Crucible tuning, no Gambit refresh, no Crucible refresh, not really a Trials refresh. Disappointingly small loot pool, not enough exotics, etc., etc., etc. What do you honestly want from this game at this point? Is the question I'd like to ask some of those people, because these are the same complaints that we have gotten literally every single expansion and mainline game since the beginning. There's not enough. There's not enough. There's not enough. And then to turn around and see, and I'm not going to throw other content creators under the bus, but people who have been playing it nonstop for now 3 days are some of the ones leading the charge of this is ridiculous. There's not enough content here, blah, blah, blah. You have played more in 3 days than most of us will be able to play in a month. The average player will be nowhere near getting most of this content done within the next several weeks. We have just barely started on the exotic quests for this game. They are not handing out exotics. I saved 4 exotic engrams on my season pass from last year. or last season to redeem. And let me tell you, I got jack shit. I got stuff from the Red War. Like, they're going to make you actually play the game to earn the loot that y'all keep complaining that you want. And then those same people are turning around and getting upset that it's not just handed to them on a spoon. I do not know what this community wants anymore. Sure, the story at its base is not the greatest. I think it's definitely stronger than Shadowkeep. It's absolutely better than most of the smaller seasons we've gotten. But y'all are complaining when we are literally not even 72 hours into the game. We are about 60 hours from launching right now. The community was imploding by 6 o'clock in the evening on Tuesday night. That has to be a new world record for how long it took the subreddit to absolutely melt down. And to be clear, most of the complaining I see is largely restricted to that particular subreddit. It is, I don't see it as widespread on Twitter as I normally do. I do see a lot of PvP complaints. There are, and this is not to say there are not valid criticisms. There are absolutely some very valid criticisms about Beyond Light, I think. I do think that the loot pool is a little disappointingly small. I don't know what the obsession with the vendor refresh has become in this community in the last year or so, but how often are y'all really using the Vanguard, Crucible, or Gambit armor that's given to you?
Right.
It's a question I'd like to pose. Now, while I do think the way they did the armor in the vendors is the absolute epitome of laziness. It's the exact same set across all three.
Yeah, I noticed that. They're just different colors.
Yeah.
Right?
So first off, if you're the one wearing the orange traffic cone looking set from Zavala, don't talk to me, because it's ugly as shit. The Crucible and Gambit ones, at least for the Hunter, are a bit more bearable. But if you're gonna do that, I don't mind you doing that, but could you maybe have some armor ornaments for us to earn based on certain triumphs or hitting certain milestones? We did this back in season 2 and 3, and a lot of people seem to really like this. We did an Iron Banner a couple times. I'd love to see a return to that, but make it a set of armor, maybe a generic set for all three, the same thing, just in different colors, and you do a set of armor ornaments that you can earn throughout the year. In the first season, you can earn the helmet and the chest piece. You can earn your arms and legs in the next, and then you can earn your class item in the last or something. Then the last 2 or 3 seasons last 2 seasons of the season are some weapon ornaments for vendor weapons. I don't know. I'm spitballing here, I do think there are definitely better ways to do it, and I see people pointing to we have come to hold Forsaken and the Taken King as our holy grails in this universe. We forget how much had to go wrong for us to get those, and we also forget that Destiny is being made by one developer at Bungie, not 3 studios under Activision. When the subreddit is actively calling for them to return to Activision because it was better at Activision, I don't think we played the same game.
Yeah.
I recognize all the resources they pumped into Forsaken, but they were ready to cut the game loose because Forsaken underperformed. Keep that in mind. The most universally beloved DLC for this game was considered an absolute failure by Activision because it did not sell tens of millions of copies in its opening month. I'm tired, Corey. I'm tired.
Yeah, no,
I'm tired of.
I mean, that's why I don't go. That's why I don't go to. That's why I don't go to Reddit anymore. That's why I don't really seek out information on this game anymore. I listen to my friends. Yeah. I listen to you. I listen to Nerd Generalist. I listen to Joe. I listen to Gathalion for the most part when I watch his streams. I don't seek out this. Yeah. This is not that it's just the Destiny community and it's the gaming community as a whole, but it's why I unfollowed 224 people on Twitter this past weekend. You know what I mean?
It is emblematic of gaming as a whole, I feel, right now.
And to that point, it's the bigger the game, the more you're going to find because the audience is bigger, right? That's why you see Call of Duty gripes every year. It's, you know what I mean?
Right.
Call of Duty is never a bad game. It's just the audience is so big. It's the biggest audience in gaming.
I want to make something really clear. If you're listening to this and you're one of the people who was really disappointed by Beyond Light, I'm not saying that you should love this and be on the ground worshiping it. Bungie absolutely has multiple things they have been asked for by the community for years to fix and to take a look at, and the response we always get is, we're looking into it, thanks for the feedback. That is not the fault of the community managers. At a certain point, that becomes department managers that need to start interacting with the fans a little bit more. Maybe we need to hear from one of them in a TWAB to explain what's going on. Communication from Luke Smith only gets so far with this community, because at this point I'm convinced you either love him or you hate him, because the pitchforks are out over there again. It's that time of year again where they're calling for him to be fired, that he's ruined the franchise, that everything after Rise, there are legit people who think that everything after Rise of Iron is absolutely unplayable and just trash. And I'm like, I don't know what you guys want, because then I see streamers, like I said, who are talking about how they've put in, multiple, 15-hour streams in the last 3 days. And, since it came out, like barely any sleep. And this is the problem with the game. Well, maybe did you ever consider you shouldn't have put like 40 to 50 hours into an expansion in the 2 or 3 days that it's been out?
Right.
Like I said, the average player, I think, is going to find more than enough for $40 there. And I'm not even going to get into the seasonal content, because I understand the argument that seasonal content should be considered separate, but also at the same time, seasonal content's sticking around all year.
Yeah.
It's sticking around all year. If I were to share one major gripe with the community, it is that the legendary weapons, because we ripped out so much from the loot pool with the sunsetting. The amount of new weapons added, not counting the raid or whatever they do in Season of the Hunt, is disappointingly ridiculously small. I will absolutely agree there. There's not a single legendary machine gun that has not been sunset.
Yeah.
There's not a single one. There's no new one this season either. In either we know what's going to be in the raid and what's going to be. There may be one in the raid. I don't know off the top of my head. But even so, there's not one that is easily obtainable for players. Other things that are just baffling decisions. You are continuing to sell Forsaken and Shadowkeep. Why on earth is that gear not up to par? Why can we not go get Moon gear? Why can we not go to the Lectern? Why can we not
at least Shadowkeep? Like, at least Shadowkeep. Like, Forsaken, okay, if you want to put a cap on that.
That's the most insane thing to me. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
So I would say that is probably the number one thing that I agree with this community on, is we had this complaint about Shadowkeep, about how there wasn't enough new weapons, but at least there you could still use everything from Forsaken. This is not great. There are about 8 or 9 weapons coming in the raid, which, again, disproportionately small amount of the player base will be able to get those, especially the opening season. The same goes for Trials Adept weapons. So few of us are ever going to see those. I personally know I will never see one of those.
No, that attitude.
You basically got to hope that Season of the Hunt adds like 8 to 10 weapons, when in reality it's probably going to be somewhere between 6 and 8.
Yeah.
That's not counting exotic quests. We know the Hawkmoon's coming back in a quest. We got the quest for Salvation Script right now. No Time to Explain is awesome. But when you're adding, the amount of legendary weapons that you're adding is equal to the amount of exotics that you added. There's a slight problem.
I think it should be like at least a 3-to-1 ratio for legendary exotics.
That's my personal opinion as well. Especially, I think this was so crucial this year with you sunsetting so much stuff. I will say Cosmo and Damage have been, they've been reading the feedback on Reddit. They've been engaging with the fans, and they said we have passed along how upset you guys are about the loot pool, about world loot. Like, it is something that the design team and the world team and the live team are actively discussing right now. He said, especially we're highlighting the unhappiness with you can't even go and get rolls of weapons from Shadowkeep or the Forsaken base game. You can't even go do that anymore, which I do think is absurd.
Yeah.
It's absolutely absurd. I mean, something that maybe could have helped is you take the weapons you could get from Drifter's Fun Box last season, and you throw those 4 or 5 unique weapons into the loot pool now. You throw the Ikelos weapons in or something. I don't know. Like, if you really wanted them that season, you wanted your specific role, you had the chance to grind for it. Now you can get random rolls out of the loot pool. I don't know. That being said, some of the exotic, or not exotic, some of the legendaries I've used this in the last couple of days, I already have a pulse rifle that I'm absolutely in love with that I earned out of the Crucible.
Oh, really? I like the one. I like the Shadow. I've been using the one that you get out of the campaign in Crucible.
I love the one out of the campaign too. I just got a better roll on this one. Yeah. There are some genuinely cool perks. Like we'll get into weapons and perks next week. I don't want to dwell on it too much. I want to give Corey and I a chance to try and earn at least one of each thing.
Yeah.
Or at least make it feasible for us to earn one of each thing beforehand.
Yeah.
And I don't want to gripe too much more about the community. It is what it is. You know who you are at this point. Maybe it's time, some of y'all who are constantly disappointed, maybe it's time to ask, is this a game I really want to keep investing time in? Like, we're not saying you can't criticize it, but when you can't find any sort of positive whatsoever, when you're calling for the director and the leader of the franchise to be fired because you don't like the sunsetting deal, like, that seems to be the anger from most people, is the sunsetting ultimately. Which we went through all this in the summer when they announced it, and now they're getting mad again, and
I just don't understand, like...
It's exhausting.
Like, I get it, like, you find weapons that you like to use and you want to use them, but at the same time, why would you want to use the same weapon for 2, 3... I was... What we were talking about in our LFG group, some of these weapons have we've been using for 7 years at this point. Multi-tool, like, you know, I still see that in the Crucible a lot just because of the radar perk, and I'm like...
Yeah,
and Scout Rifle's got a little bit of a boost.
Multi-tool, bad juju. Like, we're still seeing. I mean, there are guns from Thorn, Last Word. We're about to get Hawkmoon back. Like, these are guns we used for years in Destiny 1. We're about to start using them forever in Destiny 2. Thunderlord, like, Truth. I am so tired of seeing Truth in Gambit. Like, why do you guys not want to? What is making and I mean, those are exotic, so we're never going to get rid of those. But it's like, why are you guys so afraid to move on? I do think, I will say this, that I think what you should have done is maybe set like a 2-year limit to start sunsetting things, and be like, all right, so you could have gone into this fall going, all right, anything that you earned in the Red War that is still if you're still somehow using it, no longer usable. And like, maybe from, I don't know, maybe you sunset the Black Armory guns at the same time and say, but next spring we're going to sunset Joker's Wild and anything from Opulence. And then by then you're on basically a 2-year schedule after that. Like, we'll sunset Undying, and then at Christmas we'll sunset Season of the Dawn and things like that. Like, you let people have their 2 years with their guns and stuff, and by then, if you haven't found a replacement, maybe you should find a different game. I don't know.
Yeah.
I love that Guillotine is so overpowered because I know it's going to be useless in about 6 months. So I'm getting my time, and I mean, they already kind of did a nerf this year, right? With the expansion, like, it's noticeably weaker, but it's still a monster.
Yeah.
But I like that. Like, Interference 6 is, if you get Clown Cartridge, Spike Nades, and Full Court, that thing is a god. It's a god in some of these boss fights. Like, that's cool. I like being able to build those wacky builds, but I care way more about my armor mods now. I care way more about my ghost mods. Like, if you need a certain weapon to be good at the game... Masterworked
my Indiana Jones ghost, by the way.
I love... So, okay. So, let me just... I'll wrap up on weapons, then we're going to move into the things that we actually really like. Because I really want to talk about these ghost mods. I guess that's the main thing I agree with everybody on, is and I'm willing to hold my judgment, and we'll talk about Season of the Hunt on our way out tonight. I am willing to withhold my judgment, my harsh judgment on the loot pool until then. We've seen that they can patch some things server side. Hopefully they're getting this feedback quick enough, although I don't know how nobody thought about this beforehand, that maybe something can be changed next season. The only other thing, and Bungie themselves even recognized this today, the community managers did, that some people at Bungie were kind of like, had their eyebrows raised when they give you a kinetic sniper. I think it's Long Shadow they give you, which is in the world loot pool, and that's a piece of gear that Varix gives you, and not one of the Europa guns.
Right.
Like we couldn't have made a new sniper instead and given it to everybody, a new kinetic sniper. Really, that was my reaction. Really, we're doing this. We're doing this right now. This is the worst. This is the absolute worst. But I digress. Corey, unless you have anything else to add, let's move on.
I don't know. I just so far my only real kind of complaint is just how like the travel distance between everything. But like in terms of like weapons and stuff, I haven't gotten deep enough into really figuring out what's left in the loot pool and what's great and what's not in the exotic stuff. Like I've started a couple of the exotic quests, which seem like a grind, but I mean, that's what this game is, right? Like it's just,
yeah.
But I like I said, I kind of want to talk about what we do like, because there is a lot to like about this.
There is way more that we like that we don't like. That was kind of just like a message to the community. Like, hey, quit your bitching and moaning. Let it be out for more than 24 hours before you start complaining.
I do want to say this too. And I know that development of this expansion probably started 2 years ago at least, but they delivered this expansion in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, people working from home. I think that they delivered something that was really, honestly, a miracle that they got it out in the situation that we find ourselves in this world, you know. And I'm grateful that we have more Destiny to play. So, and if it's a little lackluster, look, how many times have we said, oh, this expansion is a little bit lackluster, and then 2-3 seasons in, there's almost too much to do, you know? So, you know, just give it time. Like the hunt, the season of the hunt, starts next week. The raid is coming. There's going to be more in-game activities.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we're literally 3 days in.
2 days in.
So, I mean, that's all.
2 days in.
That's all I really have to say. But Josh, let's talk about what we do like about this expansion so far. I really like Europa's dynamic weather effects.
I love it. Have you sat on your Sparrow just idly when it's the highest peak of weather? It like blows you all over the place.
And it's funny because I'm on the tiny Sparrow. I'm on the tiny Sparrow.
Yep.
And then I got the one with that big, huge ball that makes it like the back end of your Sparrow is super heavy, and it just kind of like waves you back and forth. It's really funny. But yeah,
it's pretty great. I really like it.
Yeah. Hold on. Before we actually get into all this too, like when you boot it up, it has the dark title screen that is super reminiscent of Destiny 1. Like I really like. I went through my characters, and like that's when I really noticed like there's really some engine changes in here. Especially like in the way that your characters look. You know, I think my characters look better. They look different. Like they look similar enough, but they look a little bit different. Like, okay. And then when you booted up the game, did the game feel different to you? Like, does it feel a little bit different to you?
It's so fucking fast.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? It is insanely fast. Even on Xbox One, there is a noticeable quickness to it now.
Yeah.
Like, it's still not amazing, but it definitely loaded quicker for me on Xbox One.
Yeah, and like even before like loading into the game and then getting into the game itself, like I felt like moving around and shooting felt different. If I don't know what it was, I feel like it. I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've been playing Halo, but I've also been playing Destiny.
That may be it. it didn't really feel that different to me. It felt on Series X, the gameplay feel, and I know it's not the optimized version. It did feel a little bit tighter to me, but maybe that's also because I finally have a 4K display.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Destiny, man. Like, there's no shooter does gunplay the way that Bungie does.
Yeah. I think it just feels tighter, maybe, is what it, I don't know, maybe because I'm playing on this gaming monitor, maybe it's because my TV in the living room, which I've been playing on too, is just like, it's just, I'm playing on nicer displays and I'm noticing things, but like,
right.
I don't know, man. It just felt tighter. It felt more responsive. It felt a little bit quicker. Like, it just felt better.
You can definitely see some of the background. You can definitely see the effect of some of the background work they've been doing, which I do think is this year for me, especially. I mean, like, dude, just my experience with the Series X. We launched a Crucible match, almost instantly had a team, even though we were going in as a full 6 stack. And before we even, like, we had just barely launched to go to the planet. Our ships aren't even all on the load screen yet. You're already hearing the landing music. You're already loading into it.
That's awesome.
It's insane. I mean, so it's obviously, you're playing with people from Xbox One as well. And so that's what's holding you up, because like Series X has processed it, but you can't land yet because nobody else is ready.
Right.
It feels so good, and I really can't wait for the next gen update, which, as we just found out on Tuesday, Phil Spencer and Pete Parsons confirmed it on the Xbox live stream. Series X and PS5 are getting 120 frames for Crucible.
I know, I saw that. That's insane.
How nuts is that?
That's so crazy.
I'm telling you, I really think that this is their experiment to see how well it works. And if it works, maybe implement it across the whole game for when they finally go next gen only.
Yeah. My only thing is
I gotta think that this is.
My only thing is like the environments the environments are so big.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, 60 is, I'm not gonna lie, I booted it up on PC yesterday because
it's gorgeous.
I mean, I have my Mac. I run it in boot camp, so but my Mac is a 5K Retina display, and like I was running it at 4K 60, and I'm just like, I can't wait to play this game. And all I did was run around the EDZ, because I only have the free version right on PC.
Yeah, but
just running around and shooting stuff feels so much better. I'm just like, I cannot wait till this happens on my Xbox.
It's such a noticeable uptick in quality. And like I said, we only don't have the next gen patch yet, but I'm like instantly on planets or instantly loading. Like, I don't know how I ever played this game before. I really don't. I don't know how I ever played it on current consoles or on the now legacy consoles.
Yeah.
PS5 came out today. I could officially call them legacy consoles. I don't know how I ever played on PS4 or Xbox One. I can't grasp that in my mind.
Can you believe that the first game came out on 360, like, and now
I genuinely don't know how that ran on 360. I know Chelsea played it a little bit, but I never joined her in that expedition.
I played the vanilla campaign on 360.
So I think we could definitely both agree that we love the ghost mods.
Oh yeah,
we love. By the way, my new favorite perk is I got a mod that it takes 6 energy, but it's so worth it. You slap it on, and headshots in the Crucible give you a chance to earn an enhancement prism.
Oh, jeez, that's awesome.
I love it. A1 Johnny, our good friend John, he got one that does that, but for Gambit, I believe. I have another one that, you can get enhancement cores that way. I love this so much. Give me one where I can earn an upgrade module, though. Like, that would absolutely be the one that's always on and would definitely encourage me to infuse more and more. I like how you can tailor it to fit your playstyle. I mean, you can go there's a guiding light boost you can get for like plus 15% or something.
Mm-hmm.
you can get like increased glimmer acquisition by like 80% or something. Like there's some really nutty stuff, but you have to really pick your poison. And I think that's going to encourage people to keep a lot more ghosts on them. I have masterworked 3 ghosts as it is. They're dirt cheap to do.
Yeah.
I've gone ahead and masterworked 3, maybe 4 ghosts at this point. So I have my Crucible one, I have my Gambit one, I have my Strikes one, and then I have like one just for fun, like just for like general XP gains.
Yeah.
God, dude, it's so good. I really, again, another QOL thing that we're like, how did we ever live with this beforehand? There's so many cool things. And I will say this. Have you used Duality yet, Corey?
Yeah, I've been using it the whole time.
Duality is one of my favorite exotics in recent memory. They definitely kept the trend going from one of the few things I think Shadowkeep really excelled in more than, for the most part, more than Forsaken overall, was absolutely the exotic game. You had things like Divinity, you had Witherhoard, which has now broken the game. You had Devil's Ruin, you had Ruinous Effigy, like you had Bastion, you had Leviathan's Breath. We had a heavy bow. We had a heavy bow with a bike chain. Like, how awesome is that?
I know. We
had all this really cool stuff given to us last year, and they're picking up right where they left off with Duality and Salvation's Grip. So the Lamnant is going to be coming up soon. Cloud Strike. I am so excited to see some of these in action because this is going to be so cool.
This is going to be really awesome. I like Duality because like it actually fits my playstyle so much of like the hip firing, like the hip fire to melee stuff that I like to do with my Titan. It fits my playstyle so much. Or I can if there's a couple guys around, I can aim down sights and just take them out. But, Duality is it's killer, man. It's awesome. I love it.
Yeah. I really, really, really like, and the look of it is so cool too. It's one of the coolest looking guns to me. It's by far, I think, outside of the chainsaw sword, I think it's the coolest looking exotic that we've seen so far.
Yeah, it's one of the best looking shotguns since Chaperone, in terms of unique design. I'd agree. Not that Chaperone was like a great weapon or anything, but it looked cool.
I would definitely agree. And I've already used it more than I've ever touched Fourth Horseman in this game. So really excited for it. Really like that. And man, No Time to Explain it just feels so good. I have found, I know it's a little bit slower, but I have found my Blast Furnace replacement. This is a gun, once I get the Catalyst done, that I will absolutely be using for a very, very long time. Like, this is going to become my meta. I will be using this for a long time until they nerf pulses into the ground. Like, if they ever give pulses a buff, which they do need to do, by the way, look out, because between No Time to Explain and that Stars and Shadow or whatever it is that you can earn in the Crucible, I'm going to terrorize people for years to come with these two.
Yeah. I've been using pulse rifles a lot recently because in Rise of Iron, I liked No Time to Explain a lot, and that was before they added this little mini turret that shoots more bullets out at the same time.
I think you have to do the Catalyst for that. I'm not really sure. That is definitely more of a PvE perk also. Like, you're not going to get that activating very often in PvP, but man, that is just a great all-around gun to have on. I love it so much.
Yeah, I haven't really been a pulse rifle guy. Like, I'm usually an auto rifle, scout rifle guy, but man, this is just like, I love that
awesome.
gun. I love that gun. I love it. I will definitely be using it once I'm finished this campaign. So,
what else? One other one I was going to bring up. The score, as always, absolutely breathtaking.
Oh yeah,
they did a really good job of capturing the feel of Europa.
I love how unique it sounds. It's so unique. Like, it fits with
so foreboding.
Yeah, and like it just sounds cool. Like it just sounds like it sounds like something's using like a equalizer and just shifting the sound a little bit. You hear it a little bit in the trailer, like at the end title screen, where it's like, you know what I mean, like that sound. But it's just kind of like, I don't know, man. Like you said, it's just definitely encapsulates Europa and just the feeling of that darkness, kind of, man.
I like that. I also really dig. I love how big Europa is, not just on the surface, but like the underground areas, the areas that are off the beaten path. I love how big it is. The Lost sectors almost feel like mini strikes.
Yeah.
This time around, I really love all of that. You can't just blow through Lost sectors anymore, which I think is good. There's definitely benefits to doing multiples of these, but they've added legendary Lost sectors now, where when you go and click on it, if you decide to do it solo, you can earn an exotic piece of gear. I really like seeing things like that. Or, you can get upgrade materials if you do it with a group and stuff. I think that incentivizes people to go actually do those things.
Mm-hmm.
This time around, the Legendary Lost Sectors was something that was actually really well received out of Season of the Worthy. It's one of the few things I think that we are all like, we really like this, and it provides new challenges. I saw Glad being really happy about that, for instance. One of the guys who's been playing this a ton, and that's great content for people like him and like Gathalion and Dotto and all them, like people who are going to try to raid day one. That's great. Do it for a chance at an exotic that you need. If you plan on running one of these new ones, try and get those new Warlock gauntlets. Combine that with Stasis. I love that you have to do quests to get the aspects and the fragments done. I think that's a really unique way of doing it. They're not just going to hand it to you, but your Stasis class can become way more powerful the more you customize it. I think that's part of why we're all complaining is so few people have those right now, that the people who do have it are definitely running wild and running crazy with it. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So, God, I like all of that. I think I would really love it if they would update the other subclasses to treat them the same way. I would not mind having to go and unlock some of this stuff, like, or maybe we're going to give it to you already because it's so old, but you can earn new aspects and new fragments in subsequent seasons. Have some seasonal ones. Have some seasonal aspects tied to the artifact or something. I think that could be really cool and really unique.
You think they will? You think they'll change it eventually?
I want them to, because I just think there's so much customization allowed in this that it almost makes the other classes like feel inferior when it comes to things like PvE. There's still uses for things like Golden Gun and Well and Tether and Bubble, but I can't imagine ever having more than one Bubble Titan or more than one or two Wells. Like, if you have multiple Warlocks, let a couple of them get on those staffs, man. Like, that would have made something like Crown of Sorrow so much easier to wipe out the ads.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even funny. Like, even the Hunter Super, you basically create an ice tornado, and it does continuous damage. Like, I got a quad kill yesterday. I threw it as I died and got a quad kill because it was still going when I got back up. Like, it's crazy. Like, it just follows enemies around the map until it disappears for like 15-20 seconds. It's great. The only other gripe I have, it's not even major, it's just, if you're gonna put so much of the content up at the top of the map, do not make the closest fast travel point Variks.
Yeah, there needs to be one up closer.
Fast travel point. It's pretty unbearable. It actually discouraged us from doing too much Europa content at once, because we had to keep going back to the exact same building, and it's so far away.
Mm-hmm.
I like how you unlock the different pieces of Europa armor also. You have to go unlock the stasis chests when you're given the quests by Variks. I think that's really unique and really cool. Again, we're not just handing you this stuff. Like, it's kind of like the lectern, like you have to craft it and things like that. I do hope there's ways to get these guns that are not tied just to Empire hunts, because I can tell you right now, I'm not going to do a ton of those.
Yeah.
And there's just so many other things to explore. There's so many nuggets of lore. There's so many lore books. There's little hints. Like if you pay really close attention, you're gonna find out some shocking things about, including Anna and Elsie, and I'm pretty sure there's Drifter and Varric's lore there. There's definitely some Banshee lore on Europa. I encourage you guys to go look for that. I'm still trying to find the exact piece myself, but I have read it and verified it. It is actually in the game. There's some shocking stuff about Banshee. That's something I definitely don't want to spoil on here. I want everybody to go figure that out on their own. There's a little mini tribute hall. There's so many cool things, I think, in this game, and I really think it's only a matter of time until we meet the real darkness. They've been rumored to be called the Veil for a long time. I think we could see him as early as next year.
Yeah.
Definitely by Lightfall, we're going to see him. They are the fabled fifth race that we've never seen. There's only so many times you can reskin the Fallen or the Hive and the Cabal and things like that. There's only so many times you can do that.
Yeah.
You got to move on. Like Varric's literally says, like, hey, my people are almost extinct. Like those who are still alive and don't want to follow this genocidal maniac are going to go to Mithrax. They want to live.
Yeah.
So... man, do we want to talk about some... go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I wonder if, like... The way I've been thinking about the Veil is, like, I wonder if Savathun comes in and, like, maybe we don't take out Savathun, like, at the end of the Witch Queen's a year, but the Veil comes out and wipes them out.
Oh, my God. I'd freak out. I still think that the Hive are going to be around until the bitter end because they literally worship the darkness and have chased it.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Savathun will actually be taken out in the Witch Queen. I still feel like she's pretty key to the end game of the entire series. But obviously that's working off the only information that we have.
Yeah.
However, she does have a sibling that's still alive, Xivu Arath, who I don't know if we'll actually see in the flesh this season, but we're going to deal with her brood a lot. We got some new details about Season of the Hunt this week, specifically today. It kicks off on Tuesday if you're listening to this. Entire planets have vanished. In the chaos that follows, Xivu Arath, the Hive god of war, boldly moves to seize power. If left unchecked, she threatens a solar system already in turmoil. While investigating the growing threat, Osiris finds himself in need of help. Fortunately, a new and yet familiar ally known as the Crow joins you in the rescue. There is an extended trailer out that just looks amazing. It looks really, really cool. This is Bungie's way of still shoving Hive content down our throats in an expansion that has nothing to do with the Hive.
Yeah.
But it looks cool. It looks like this is going to be spread across the Tangled Shore, the Moon, and the Dreaming City. Really excited for that. If you have not peeped the season pass yet, go. The initial season pass armor sucks, but the armor, this may be some of my favorite armor ornaments in the whole game. It looks like you're covered in like Ahamkara bone.
Yeah.
Really digging that. Activity, the hunt begins. Hive shrines have arrived throughout the system. The Spider has felt the effect of this disturbance and wants to strike a bargain. Work with him and the Crow to build a device that will draw Xivu Arath's lieutenants out of hiding. Once constructed, upgrade your lure, snare your prey, and challenge the Hive god. I wonder if we might actually fight like a shadow of Xivu Arath or something.
Yeah, like
similar to like the Shadow of Oryx and stuff.
Yeah. I think that would make sense.
Some of the screens look amazing here. Encourage everyone to look at. I need to steal the Crow's cloak. You can see it clearly in one of these.
For a character that was like totally just like everybody was making fun of him when Destiny came out, right? Remember when you first go to the reef and you talk to the queen and he's like standing there and he looked like emo awoken, just jerk off, whatever. Like,
yeah,
he looks really cool now. Like that, like his cloak, his armor set, that sword that he's wielding, like it's super cool.
It's pretty great. I'm really excited. I hope that sword is one of the seasonal weapons because we have no idea what the seasonal weapons are yet. I have to think that that's going to be one of them.
Oh yeah.
I'm a big fan of the artifact here, the Fang of Xivu Arath. I was going to read it out for a lore corner tonight, but we have been going a bit long, so we're not going to have a traditional lore corner. I would encourage everybody to go read the lore tab on that. You can view it on your screen as soon as you pick it up in Zavala's office. It's really, really interesting. It's Osiris talking about it. It's absolutely fascinating. Like that, we got our official confirmation that Hawkmoon is going to be tied to this season. It'll be a seasonal quest that will be given to us at some point, which means we still have a third exotic that we will earn that has not been shown at all. Excited to see what that could probably, or not probably, but that could potentially be. Divinity or Divinity Duality, of course. And I'd also encourage everybody to go peep those season pass rewards. The finisher is now my new default finisher. It's the Cade execution, essentially.
Nice.
You're holding Ace of Spades and everything. The final emote that you get, so there's two emotes you get in the season pass. One is a crow on your arm, and the other is you posing with Izanagi's burden. I like it. I like so much of the stuff. Like there's extra bright dust in the pass now. There's some interesting ghost shells. There's of course the armor ornaments, which are awesome. The sparrow, the ship. I don't know if there's a ship or not. And I really like the duality ornament as well. Like there's some really cool stuff in there. Definitely, I think especially if the seasonal event pans out, this is gonna be $10 really well spent.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but that's all we got for that. I'm scanning the TWAB real fast to see if there's anything we need to talk about.
I mean, after the TWAB, I do want to ask you a question. You did the new light quest.
Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. Yeah. Forget the TWAB, guys. First off, there's nothing in there. It's a slow week. I'm going to say this as bluntly as I can. Do not, under any circumstance, pick up the new light quest if you do not plan on doing it right there in one sitting. If you leave the quest at all, it will bug you relentlessly to go back to it. You will get pop-ups in your director every single time you open it up. It will try to guide you to do it. It definitely holds your hand like you're a kindergarten to the point where I think people are going to play one mission of it and be like, fuck this game. It is that bad. It's better than what we had. It's definitely a better new light experience. They make you do a strike. They make you do a patrol. They make you do a lost sector. They make you do a strike. They make you go to the tower, pick up a quest from Zavala, and, an exotic quest and things like that. They make you run around and do all this stuff. You get a cool risk. You get a free risk runner at the end out of all of it. They teach you how to do Gambit and Crucible. There's quests that give you Gambit, Crucible, and Strike experience. Imagine my shock when you remember how we were told that the what's her face, the Omnigul strike was coming back.
Mm-hmm.
So it's back. It's not Omnigul though. It is not the Destiny 1 version of this strike.
Oh jeez.
It is some other random hive wizard, and that just made me immediately go, "Oh God, I am actually really scared for what they're going to do to the Vault of Glass now." I don't mean that to sound like dramatic, but that did not really bode well for me and my feelings that we're going to get all Destiny 1 content as it was brought into the game. I think that's actually a problem because Omnigul still gets referenced to this day. I mean, we fought a Nightmare of her last year. We fought her offspring in Hashladoon.
Mm-hmm.
She was Orcs' lover, or not Orcs, Crow's lover. She's actually, for a strike boss, really significant to the timeline of events that our Guardian goes through. It's not like, oh, we're fighting the Hydra and the Nexus, or we're fighting the Fallen Saber. We're actually fighting has cosmic significance to this story. Kind of have a problem with that. I hate Shahan is my new least favorite Destiny character.
Oh no!
Congratulations, Hawthorne. You have a reprieve for right now. I have never wanted to reach through the screen and punch a Destiny character so relentlessly since year one Rahul. I truly hate Shahan with all of my heart.
Oh no, I wanted to do the new light quest and I wanted to see what this character was like.
Dude, it's so bad. He is the most incompetent hunter out there. Everybody listening to this, hunters are not that incompetent. He is the worst goddamn hunter in the entire universe, I swear to God. He must have been friends with Takeo 3 because he's awful at his job. He is absolutely atrocious at his job. It is inexcusable. Get my man a Series X and some Tetris effects connected.
To be fair, when you see a picture of this dude, he looks like he's like a really bad cosplayer of a hunter.
Dude, that is exactly right. He is impersonating a guardian. He stole my young Ahamkara's spine out of my vault when I wasn't looking during the maintenance. This is unacceptable. Like, you really lead me to believe Zavala lifted the quarantine on the Cosmodrome for this dude? Really? On top of that, the Cosmodrome basically is completely pointless this season. All that is there is the new light quest. There's 2 or 3 lost sectors. And we go there for a step of the main Beyond Light quest. Which, ironically, is to do the exact same lost sector you have to do as part of the new light quest. I knocked them both out at once because I refused to go back to Earth until it forced me.
That's hilarious.
It's so bad, Corey. It's so bad. It's truly atrocious. So when you go and pick it up from here's probably my biggest problem. You pick it up from the quest hub, the new quest hub, which is hidden in a really weird place next to the postmaster. Like, who the fuck is lining up single file there to get a quest?
Yeah.
When you pick that up, though, you cannot delete it out of your inventory. It will force you to finish it.
Oh, jeez.
It is not listed in your quests. Keep in mind, if you pick it up and you go to click on Earth, you cannot go to the EDZ until you complete the opening 4 steps of the quest line. Because it will make you do them all in a row. It's not bad, but it is the exact experience of Earth in Destiny 1 condensed into a more linear campaign with the Omnigul strike slapped on as the end. Which is that, and that strike is replayable as one of the Vanguard strikes now. I think it's a little bit better than the Omnigul one because the wizard definitely teleports all over the room. There is no safe room to hide in. They put enemies in every one of them. The room that was up in the attic that we all used to hide in is now gone.
Oh no. That's where I used to hide in my bubble.
There is a lot of shit going on in that. I actually think that room is really fun, but we were all really underleveled and I was just annoyed by the end.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll get better, but I can already tell you this is probably going to be like Exodus Blue levels of I'm skipping the hell out of this if it's the Nightfall.
Oh no.
I much prefer Glassway is a much better strike.
Oh no.
The Glassway, Corey, have you done the Glassway strike yet? It's the Europa strike.
Yes, because it's part of
to the giant. Yeah, it's part of the campaign, which is hilarious. They made that and the Empire Hunts part of the campaign. So
yeah,
okay, that criticism was not listened to very well about Warmind.
That strike was not.
It's challenging. I did it about 35 under the light level I was supposed to be, so I spent most of my time running. They made the hallways big enough to allow the Hydras to come in after you and chase you.
Yes, they did.
Which I think was hilarious, personally. There's a giant Vex Lake out there with all these snipers, so you can't go out there. You better hope your team is competent. When it was like, oh, defeat the Hydras that stop the Hydras from coming through, and I was like, oh, there's just 2 of them. This isn't bad. And then the big Chungus comes through. The sound that left my throat, you would be forgiven for thinking it was a child who got scared in a haunted house, because I shrieked so loudly when I saw that, and then I just started laughing unbelievably hard. Our rando was really bad. My friend was not at the light level. I definitely was not at the light level. And we had swords equipped.
Yeah. Let's see.
So it was really fun, though. I really liked that strike.
What did I have equipped in that level? Because I needed them to be a higher light level. I think I had a sword, a shotgun, and like a pulse rifle. I think is what I had.
It's so bad. There is no combination of weapons that will make you be okay in that strike if you are under-leveled.
Yeah.
But it was so much fun. I loved it. I want to go run it again. So
it was challenging. I think just because the randoms I was running with didn't really know what they seemed like that this might be their first foray into Destiny. I was about 10 under the light level, and it was pretty challenging. So it's pretty sad when I'm the best player on the team.
It's fun though. I do genuinely really, really, really love this. I love this strike. It's so bananas.
One of the side rooms, we were all in the same side room, and then like one of the hydras starts flying in, and then you get the harpies with the legs, the new harpy leg enemies. Two of them just come in through the other doorways while the guy's just floating in the middle, and nobody knew what to do. So I just turned on my supers and took out the harpies with the legs, and then they started sorting the guy, and I'm like, you probably shouldn't be doing that part.
It's so great. It's so dumb, but it's so great. I love that, and I know we gotta go, but my one last thing I want to heap some praise on is Ghost. On one hand, I really hoped that the darkness would just reach out and crush Nolanbot because he was pissing me off. He's so concerned about you turning to the dark side. It's like he's Padme in Revenge of the Sith. You're going down a path I can't follow. Like,
I know.
Ghost, you've made it clear for the last 4 hours, buddy. Where the fuck is your mute button? Like, do you have an off switch? Because I'm going to need you to take 10, buddy. Don't worry about rezzing me. I'll be okay. But on the other hand, some of the dialogue that he gives is so laugh out loud hilarious. In one of the darker stories that we've gotten, really. No pun intended. He goes... Please don't make me hack another computer. I'm really tired of hacking.
Yeah.
He says that, and then there's one other one that made me laugh. God, I gotta see if I can find it while we're talking, because it's just so good. It's a quip that he makes. Ghost is great. Whoever wrote for Ghost this time, like, on one hand, Ghost sucks, and I kind of just wanted him to be destroyed at the end, and give me whatever that weird Vex fish thing is that's with the stranger.
Yeah,
but Bungie will do that whenever they're ready for me to fork out money for one, which absolutely is going to happen.
Yeah.
God, where is the other? I'm so annoyed that I can't find this now because it's so great.
Yeah,
I love Ghost so much.
Yeah, this is really the first time I've actually been keyed in on what everybody's saying for the first time. Usually I'm running through the campaign.
The side dialogue is so great, and they really did they did well in Season of Arrivals, and I'm glad they've continued it.
Yeah, there's something how you can go up to the Drifter or Eris after you talk to the stranger to go on a mission, and you can talk to them or whatever, or hear what they have to say.
Yeah,
Eris said something really funny too, and the Drifter's I don't even know why I'm here. I'm just oh, okay, well, you're here.
Yeah, God, dude, Ghost is so great. Who doesn't love Ghost? Ghost makes you feel so bad for taking the darkness, and then 10 seconds later you're all right, now shut the fuck up and let me just use the fun powers.
I know. And then I was thinking about this last night when I turned it off to go to bed, and I was remember Dinklebot? What do you think he would sound like during this expansion?
Oh my god, dude, it would be so bad. Okay, I think I found it. Hang on a second, let me listen to this. Oh, he impersonates the Drifter. That's what he does.
Oh yeah.
He goes, not to dwell on this, but my Drifter impression was pretty good, wasn't it? Hive, bring a sword. He goes, watch out, Drifter. There's a new Drifter in town. And it's so great. I love it. I love everything about this. This makes sitting through his lecture and his guilt so worth it.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh my God, it's they let like everybody be a little funny at some point in this, like except for like Amanda Holiday and the faction vendors. We're just going to continue to pretend that they don't exist.
Yeah,
which is why it's so funny that the new light quest makes you go talk to Amanda. It's like, oh, you're never coming back here. It's okay.
Yeah, I did have to go to her for a quest though. Like I think it's part of an exotic quest.
Oh, if you're doing she gives the chaperone quest. I know that.
Yeah, it might be that then.
She does that, and your Twitch Prime rewards are there. That's the only time I talk to her.
Yeah. So. Twitch Prime.
Man, it's I don't even know what else to say. It's so freaking funny, though. I can't get over it. Goes, hi, bring a sword. It's so bad. He does it with the voice and everything. It says nothing like the Drifter. Oh, man. It's great. Guys, pay attention to my man Ghost. He is this season's Drifter in Eris. I really want to hear him interact with pulled pork, though, in Season of the Hunt.
Yeah.
So badly.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
It's gonna be great.
Is there anything else you want to hit on before we wrap up?
No, I mean we're 2 days into a new expansion. There's going to be a lot more to come as Corey gets farther into the game, obviously, as I do, and as we start climbing towards trying to do the Deepstone Crypt day one.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a lot more time to play. Like, I'm gonna play a little bit now when we get off, and I'm gonna play a lot tomorrow night and Saturday night. So, it's I'm enjoying it. I don't think it's as good as Forsaken so far.
No, but
it's definitely better than Shadowkeep. It's definitely better than Osiris and Warmind so far.
Yeah, so I mean, if you rank major, so I try to separate them into major and minor expansions, like Osiris, Dark Below, ones like that are minor to me, and then major ones are the Taken King, Rise of Iron, Forsaken, Shadowkeep, and Beyond Light. I probably have this at number 2.
Yeah.
I was not as high on Rise of Iron as most people, but I have it going, well, actually probably number 3, because I mean, Forsaken and Taken King are obviously, as we discussed earlier, the gold standard. I think this is a very solid B tier. I personally feel like there's $40 worth of content here right now. Obviously, they haven't revealed it all to us yet, but I do think an unnatural amount of how we're going to view this expansion really comes down to the raid.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people didn't like Shadowkeep, but then they were like, man, that was a really cool raid. Man, Pit of Heresy's kind of cool. Man, Prophecy was really good.
Yeah.
Like, there is stuff, and I mean, like, things can come out throughout the year that can affect that. I think we also look at the whole year of content. When we talk about Forsaken, we talk about that entire year of content.
Yeah.
We forget that so often when we talk about the Taken King. Like, everything for that year came out at once.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get anything. We got Sparrow Racing League, and that was it.
Yeah. So didn't we get Prison of Elders too, though? That spring?
No, we got that in House of Wolves. We got that before the thing.
Oh yeah. Gross. Skolas.
The Rise of Iron, there was nothing.
I forgot.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we got Prison of Elders instead of a raid, and everybody was pissed off.
Yeah, and it's like, oh man, if you could go into the future and see how they reacted in Shadowkeep and Beyond Light. But no, I think this is really cool overall. And the Destiny 2 logo has updated for Season of the Hunt also. It's the Reef, which I really dig.
Nice.
Yeah, I just turned on my Xbox and I looked over and looked at it. I'm like, oh yeah, hey, that did update. But yeah, Beyond Light, I mean, hey, if you got Game Pass, I see a lot of people going, oh, thank God I got Game Pass. I got Game Pass. I mean, don't front. Like, you're still going to buy the seasons. It's okay. You're complaining. We'll see you back here in 3 weeks. It's okay. Go take a breather.
Yeah.
We'll see you for the Deep Stone Crypt on the 21st. It's okay.
I'm excited to, like, next September or October or whenever Witch Queen comes out. I'm excited to talk about how this season or how this year ends up. You know, like, I don't know. I think Shadowkeep ended up much better than we initially anticipated too. So
it definitely did, and I mean, I'll be honest. A lot of that for me comes down to the Saint 14 story missions that we got. Like, that was not a great season, but I think that was good. And the Sundial was probably the best of the seasonal events you had to repeat. It was definitely better than Means to an End or Seraph Towers or the Vex Offensive.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, just the pure lore dump that we got in Arrivals. We got 3 awesome exotics with Witherhoard, Ruinous, and Traveler's Chosen. You got the Exodus quest lines. You got the public event, which I think that is still one of my favorite public events I've ever done in a Destiny game. I think that was really cool. You got the Prophecy Dungeon, which is probably the single best piece of content they've done in Destiny 2. Like, outside of Last Wish and maybe the Shattered Throne, I'd say Prophecy is a top 3 thing they've done. There's a lot to live up to, like, going into this. And I mean, I remember these same people 6 months ago were like, oh, if Arrivals isn't great, I'm done, I quit. And they were all in after that. Like, it's like, come on, it's an exhausting loop. Like, just, if you want to play it. Nobody says this has to be the only thing you play. We have more options than any other time in history of what to go play. Like, this week alone, you got this, Black Ops, and Valhalla all come out.
Yeah.
Oh, and Demon Souls, and Miles Morales, and Bug Snacks,
and like, Gears Tactics if you don't have a PC.
And Gears Tactics if you don't have a PC, and Tetris Effect, and Bright Memory, and all these Series X patches. There's so much to play. Like, if you're upset right now with the state of the game, put it down, wait for a few patches, wait and see if you like the Season of the Hunt. Like, jump back in a few weeks. Like, let some stuff build up, jump back in. Like,
and if you have a new,
I'm gonna take breaks.
Yeah, I'm totally, like, after we, like,
and I do a podcast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take breaks.
I mean, I'm gonna play up through probably when we try the raid, like, and then I'll probably, like, only play, like, 1 or 2 times a week until, the next season or like, because I want to. There's a bunch of. I have a whole list of games because I didn't buy a Series X just to play Destiny, right?
Right.
Of course, it helps, but, like, I want to play Valhalla. I want to play Gears Tactics. I want to play Planet Coaster, like, Game Pass. Hell yeah! Like, I don't know. I like, this next month will be dedicated to Destiny, and then after that, I'm only going to probably play 1 or 2 times a week, if that, depending on the content.
And I mean, that's perfectly acceptable. I don't understand the obsession with, oh my god, this has to be the only thing that I play. Like, no, it doesn't. Like, you're okay. You can absolutely play what you want when you want, and that's okay.
I mean, I totally expect everybody to fall off when Cyberpunk comes out.
I mean, I've already made it really clear that the reason why I'm going to hit it so hard in the first month and why I'm lamenting that the next gen patch comes out 2 days before Cyberpunk is because I know I won't get to enjoy it for a while. I mean, I'll pop in and I'll do the Dawning. I like baking cookies, depending on how Season of the Hunt's going. Any exotic quests, I'll be popping in to do that stuff. But yeah, my focus is going to shift to Cyberpunk. It's going to shift to Assassin's Creed early next year. Like, when I finally get to that, I want to play some Black Ops at some point. Like, there are so many other options. Destiny, sure, it's my main game, but I take frequent breaks so I don't burn myself out and I don't become one of those people on Reddit.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
I don't know. I mean, that's all I've got for tonight, I guess. I think it's probably a good place to call it. We didn't too much more without talking about our loot, which we're still trying to earn.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll get to all that next week. Maybe, definitely the Season of the Hunt. We'll talk about the first week of that. We'll talk about all that stuff next week. So that's going to wrap it up. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening. You can catch us live on the Arsenal X Podcast Twitch channel on Thursday nights. You can also find us on YouTube and podcast services on Fridays. Please like, subscribe, share, rate, and review. If you leave us a nice review, we will love you forever. Leave us some 5 stars. Leave us a nice review. Tell everybody how much you appreciate Josh and his lore, and his beard, and his conspiracy
when we
headphones.
finally get back. My conspiracy headphones. God dang it, Corey. When we finally get back to having a proper lore corner, I promise you guys can enjoy it.
We will. I can't wait for like the Crow or like some of the lore that's coming up soon.
Yeah,
too.
So we're going to have to update some of our lore that we talked about, just simply because it's not sustainable for us to not go back and do that. And that was kind of the purpose. Like, we never really did one on Xivu or Wrath. I'm hoping we can put one together by the end of this season.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll break down some of we have the complete transcript of the collector's edition stuff from the ARG game. Like, maybe I'll parse through some of that this week. But we're going to tackle some of the lore books as we get them and figure out where we can go from there. It's going to be a lot more focused on stuff that's actually in-game. And I know you guys can read that. Y'all are all big boys and girls. But kind of breaking down what does that mean in the larger context of the world.
Yeah.
Maybe some exotic tabs on these guns, on the seasonal artifact, things like that. So
yeah. So, Josh, where can we find you?
As always, every single week at Josh_Finn on Twitter and on Twitch, twitch.tv/Josh_Finn. Been streaming a lot of Beyond Light over there. I streamed basically the entire campaign outside of the opening mission, since I was still on my 1S when that was happening. And what else did we do? We're gonna play some Bright Memory this week. I think Bright Memory. Maybe I'll stream my Gears 5 playthrough. Maybe, but it's gonna be a lot of Destiny until Cyberpunk. And then it's becoming a Cyberpunk only stream. Sorry, Destiny.
You can find me at You can find me at I am Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at Corey HD on Twitch. I am going to start next week, depending on getting this. I literally rearranged my office, so like streaming stations here. My monitor is there. Got it all set up. Just waiting on the Series X. So, also found out my capture card has 4K 120 pass-through, even though it only records at 1080p 60. So that's good. I was a little worried about that. So,
nice.
Yep. If you like Xbox, Josh and I are also on Arsenal X, the Xbox podcast, which is where you're watching us right now on that Twitch channel. So you can check that out too. I want to thank everybody so much for watching and or listening. Remember to like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you consume us. And until next time, we love you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.